Kira noticed the change in Marcus before he did. The slight tremor in his hands, the sheen of perspiration on his forehead despite the cool air. By midday, he could no longer hide it. "It's nothing," he insisted as she pressed her palm against his face, feeling the unnatural heat radiating from his skin. "Just my body processing the crawler toxin. This is not a normal reaction," Kira countered, her voice sharper than intended. Fear did that to her, transformed concern into aggression. "Your temperature is dangerously elevated." Marcus attempted a smile that didn't reach his eyes. "Worried about me, Commander? Don't be absurd. I simply require your medical knowledge until rescue arrives." The lie tasted bitter on her tongue. His condition deteriorated rapidly as the day progressed. By evening, Marcus was delirious, his body alternating between violent shivering and burning fever. Kira searched their supplies for anything that might help, cursing her limited understanding of human physiology. In the bottom of his medical kit, she found a small analysis device, still functional. The readout confirmed her fears. The crawler's venom was reacting with something in Neuraxis's atmosphere, creating a compound toxic to humans. Without proper treatment, organ failure would begin within hours. For the first time since childhood, Kira felt panic clawing at her throat. She couldn't lose him, not now, not when he had shown her a different way to exist, not when he had awakened feelings she never knew she was capable of experiencing. Desperate, she activated her emergency beacon. It would signal her position to any passing ship, Veridon or human. At this point, she no longer cared which side found them. Through the night, she tended to Marcus as he had once tended to her, cooling his fever with damp cloths, monitoring his vital signs, supporting his head when seizures racked his body. She spoke to him continuously, first in her native tongue then in his, telling stories of her homeworld, sharing secrets she had never told another soul. "You must survive this," she commanded, her forehead pressed against his as she held him through a particularly violent seizure. "Do you understand me, Marcus? That is an order." In a moment of lucidity, his eyes found hers. "Since when? Do humans take orders from Veridon?" Kira's laugh caught in her throat, emerging as something close to a sob. "Since this human saved a Veridon's life. That creates a debt that must be repaid." His hand weakly found hers, fingers intertwining despite their different anatomies. "No debt," he whispered. "I would do it again." "Why?" The question that had haunted her from the beginning. "Why save an enemy?" Marcus's eyes were unfocused, but his words were clear. "You were never my enemy. Just a person, needing help." Hours passed in a haze of fear and exhaustion. Kira refused to leave Marcus's side, even as her own strength waned. She found herself doing something no Veridon warrior would admit to praying. Not to her ancestors or the Empire's deities, but to whatever forces might exist in this universe that valued compassion over conquest. As dawn approached, Kira made a discovery. The native fungi Marcus had identified as edible contained compounds structurally similar to anti-inflammatories in his medical kit. With the analysis device, she determined a potential treatment, risky, but his only hope. With methodical precision, she prepared the mixture, crushing the fungi and combining it with the remaining medical supplies. The result was a paste that smelled foul, but might reduce the inflammatory response overwhelming his system. "This will taste terrible," she warned, though she wasn't sure he could hear her. But then, human food always does. Carefully, she administered the mixture, massaging his throat to ensure he swallowed. Then she waited, her hand never leaving his, her eyes never leaving his face. Gradually, imperceptibly, his breathing steadied. The tremors subsided. By midday, his fever had broken, leaving him weak but conscious. "You saved me," he murmured when he finally awoke, voice hoarse from the ordeal. Kira, exhausted from her vigil, managed a small shrug. "I am a fast learner." A ghost of his usual smile touched his lips. And modest too. Relief made her reckless. Before she could reconsider, Kira leaned forward and pressed her forehead against his, the closest equivalent to a kiss in Veridon culture, a gesture of profound intimacy. "Don't ever do that again," she whispered fiercely. "Don't ever come so close to leaving." The shock in Marcus's eyes gave way to understanding. Slowly, giving her time to withdraw, he raised his hand to the side of her face. His touch was gentle, exploratory, tracing the ridges of her alien features with wonder rather than revulsion. "I didn't know," he said softly. "I thought I was alone in this." "In what?" she asked, though she already knew the answer. Instead of replying, Marcus drew her closer until their lips met, a human gesture she had heard of but never experienced. It should have felt strange, wrong even. Instead, it felt like coming home to a place she had never been. When they finally parted, Kira didn't withdraw. Instead, she settled beside him, her head resting on his chest, listening to the steady rhythm of his single heart. "This is impossible," she murmured against his skin. "Veridon and human. It defies everything." "Most good things do," Marcus replied, his fingers tracing patterns along her arm. As night fell again, their two bodies formed a single silhouette against the backdrop of Neuraxis's moons. Physical differences that once seemed insurmountable now created a perfect complementary geometry. His skin, soft and warm, hers, textured and cool. His frame, solid and grounding, hers, lithe and protective. They explored each other with the reverence of explorers discovering new worlds, which, in many ways, they were. Each touch, each whispered word in the darkness broke another barrier between their species, between their souls. In the quiet aftermath, as Marcus slept peacefully beside her, Kira gazed up at the stars. One of them could be her homeworld. Another could be his. Light years apart, yet somehow they had found each other in this desolate place. A distant sound interrupted her thoughts, the unmistakable hum of engines entering the atmosphere. Rescue, at last. But whose? Kira tightened her hold on Marcus, suddenly afraid. Not of death or capture, but of losing what they had found here, in this impossible sanctuary between worlds. The beacon's light pulsed steadily in the corner, a reminder that their isolation was ending. Soon they would face the reality of their worlds at war, the impossibility of their connection. As the sound of engines grew louder, Marcus stirred, his eyes finding hers in the darkness. "They're coming," she said simply. His hand found hers, squeezing gently. "Whatever happens next, this was real. Remember that." Kira pressed her forehead to his once more, sealing a promise neither of them had words for. Whatever came with the dawn, salvation or separation, they had already found something neither had expected when they crashed on this desolate moon. Each other.